welcome to the regular council meeting for the month of March. This time, if we could all rise for our invocation, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Chip?
Yes. Precious Father, we come to you, Lord. We want to thank you for your gratitude and your kindness towards us. We thank you, Lord, for the provisions that you have made, Lord, during this pandemic. Lord, as we look into our future, Lord, in a positive outlook, we ask that you would bless this meeting, continue to be involved in our lives, in our leadership. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, that's all you want. Walk turn, come in, bring in a turn with you. Switch out chairs. Is this? You want this one, get over to it. You ain't had enough to make it run.
Is there anyone here in the audience that wishes to address the council tonight? Anyone here need to talk to council? Nancy?
If you want me to, I will.
Are you here, you're not here to speak to us?
I'm a spectator, but if you
Okay.
want me to talk, I will.
That's good to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now to our agenda for business, editing for business items not on the agenda. The council members, any council member have anything to add at this time? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
There a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we also received minutes in our agendas for the regular February council and continued meeting. I hope everyone had a chance to review those this weekend. Any editing or any items need to be addressed in the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make that motion, Mayor. I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Kevin, do we have any other bills than what we've already been presented in our agendas? Any additional bills?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Gilmer, are you, as committee chair, reviewed those? Any recommendations?
Mayor, I'd just like to ask Diane, on the mid-state equipment, the 11,790, we just need to make, if that's the CARES Act funds, we just need to make sure we document that as CARES Act funds, even though we paid it this month. And then one other comment, did we draw down the 10,000 for the study at the theater from Cumberland Plateau? I saw we paid the check. Are we doing the drawdowns first and then do it out?
We already withdrew it earlier.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the February accounts payable, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, same sign. Ms. Diane, you might follow up to Mr. Gilmer regarding documenting CARES funds, et cetera. Mr. Lester, I talked to him over the weekend after Congress has passed this new relief plan, and I think we're going to, as we go forward, we'll need to do the same protocol as far as documentation, okay? You know, we'll show the bill.
We have been doing
Yes, we have still been keeping up with everything.
Good deal.
Can you, Kevin, do you care to give us do you care to send us an update on that documentation that we've done since December 31st?
Oh, the COVID,
Yes.
the funds, CARES Act, yes.
Camden's already gone through, they're almost finished their audit for their money. move item, the next item on our downtown Christmas, down the agenda, so we can get to the town manager's report. Is that agreeable with everyone? Yea, nay, no?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Kevin?
Okay.
We're to you at this point.
Well, it's quick.
We're gonna move it after, when did you know, I'm sorry.
And we put down there under, with old business,
What was that?
the Christmas decoration.
Oh.
Because we had discussed it before. All right, Mr. Blankenship, let me get my paperwork on you.
Okay. I've just got 4 items. The first item, we want to have a discussion in regards to the tobacco policy, and you should actually have a policy in your packet. There was a policy that was provided for you in the packet. Council packet.
In the town manager packet or information packet?
It's in the information.
Oh, there it is, all right. Okay, thank you.
This is the very first one behind the information.
Well, members of the council, I don't know how many, I don't know, is this our third round of discussions on this?
Probably so.
I'd like to respectfully request that we deal with this tonight, yea or nay, one way or the other. Hopefully we've gotten 2 revisions, and we will revise it. Did we revise it twice? Am I right on that? Unless there's things that we need to add, we need to kick it on down the road again, that's fine, but I think this is something that we discussed a couple, 3 meetings, and we need to hear everybody's thoughts, and then basically I'd like for us to move forward.
Mayor, with the proposed policy here in front of us, and I'd like to get an understanding from the council, department heads are able to determine their designated areas. So that's not just where we put the signage,
That's
But
a
that's-
threat, I take it to be a threat on the project.
okay, so even on the job, I mean, for the outdoor employees, the supervisor can determine what areas they can use the tobacco
That's
process.
correct.
Okay.
That's the way I understood it, Scott. So in other words, for laying a sewer line, back, and they need to take a break, ever hear that on-site supervisor, that's who will designate where they can go.
Right.
That's the way I understood it.
I'm okay with the, I mean, I'll open up the discussion. I'm good with the policy as presented.
I have a question. At one time, we said that, under procedure, the first employee to violate this policy, we said that no one we aren't going to fire an employee because we catch them smoking something. Okay, that's what this says.
Yeah,
And I think that needs to be taken out, is that, or clarified, is that that's not the way it is. Because if we catch them, and that means we can fire them.
yeah,
And I don't think it
I
should
don't
be
believe
in
this
here.
council member, I think they rethought that, that's just most of it. Of course, I'm gonna reserve, I guess I need, I won't speak for Doyle, but Doyle knows that, and I, of course, are tobacco users. The rest of you are not. I think we basically agreed that we don't want tobacco use in any of the town vehicles, which is according to law, or the code. We're not gonna smoke in the buildings. Also, that's Virginia.
Clean air.
The Clean Air Act. The police are out and they've got the, I don't know if we ever resolved the tobacco bottle, or, it's not spit in, let's just say a tobacco juice bottle in a vehicle. I think there's been both discussions one way or the other. It's all right as long as they make sure they empty, if they get out of their vehicle, they get rid of that bottle. And then there's a film, half council probably says no chewing in vehicles, so,
That was just a clarification I was gonna ask for.
yeah,
Are we
so
still
we're
gonna be-
not there yet, Eric, is what I'm trying to, yeah, as far as, I don't think we have a consensus. But I don't think, and I'm not gonna speak for the whole council, but in relation to Deanna's question, my memory serves me, I don't remember us having a discussion of firing anybody over the tobacco policy. And I don't think any of us are interested in supervising. I'll say I'm certainly not. I don't know. I'm not gonna stop out here on the road, and if Billy is, we're on a work project, and Billy, the supervisor's told him where their designated area is, then that's who's responsible for it. It's not responsible to the mayor or to Kevin, you know what I'm saying? But, and I'm confused a little bit, and I don't know how to really address this. In our employee manual, actually in our staff manual, we address tobacco somewhat. And I guess the question is, do we need to amend the employee document, the staff personnel document, and do a policy? Or do we combine them? I don't know the answer. I throw that out as discuss. I don't know the answer to that question. Some of it seems a little redundant to me. Is that the right word? A little redundant, but, and since as I said, since I'm a tobacco user, I'm gonna shut up about it now and let the council proceed. And let them go, I'll leave it up to you, you can make that comment. But they're not, you and I tobacco users, we're probably, they expect us just to say.
We're gonna get out and vote.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Can we put it just in can we put it, do we have to pass this, or can we put it in our town handbook, in our town handbook?
Employee manual.
Or the employee manual.
Employee manual, can we do that? I mean, what do you think?
Myself, it's a tobacco-free policy. The employee handbook states a tobacco policy in there as well. But I'm 100% for no smoking in town vehicles or equipment. I'm 100% for the supervisors designating the areas around any structure as far as, town hall or the maintenance shop, water treatment plant, wastewater plant, any of those structures, but also in here, and again, I'm not a tobacco user. I don't smoke, I don't chew, but also, promote health and wellness. But I also understand that people do have the addiction, and some people enjoy smoking and chewing. With that being said, people in the sanitation department, people in the water and sewer maintenance, even in the vehicle maintenance, as long as those supervisors, and if we're going to pass this policy, I would suggest that we actually add that in here. There needs to be a statement that allows temporary designation for tobacco use. That way, if these guys are out here working on, Main Street or even on, back on one of these back streets, obviously I wouldn't suggest 2 or 3 employees smoking a cigarette in front of the courthouse or the town hall or anywhere where there's a gathering of people around. But as far as, somebody being on a trash truck or working on a water line back on one of these back roads, I don't have any issues with them chewing tobacco or smoking. But I think that temporary designation needs to be added if we're going to pass a policy. If we're going to add it to the employee handbook, then we just state it pretty well, making an amendment to the employee handbook. That's how I feel about it. But as far as saying, and again, it goes back to production. If we've got guys out here on the sewage maintenance or water maintenance that are digging 200 foot of water line, and every hour or two they've got to go. Everybody goes back to the shop so they can smoke a cigarette. That becomes a production issue for me. And,
I think we backed up on that one too. I believe we did.
Sure, but as long as, just like I said, as long as the supervisor in charge can designate a temporary area for tobacco use, then that fixes that issue. So I'm fine with that.
Well, let's see, Brad, we'll start, we'll just come on down the line,
That's
we've
fine.
heard from lines of, to review.
I really like that the supervisors have control of where the designated areas are. I think in this procedure part where the including discharge, I think that's in about every policy. My intent is to not fire any employee over smoking. If it becomes a issue happening over and over, you know, that may come up for discussion. I don't see that being a problem though.
Okay.
I don't want to make this thing any harder than it has to be, so if the council sees that it just goes in the manual, I'm okay with that, instead of having two different copies.
Yeah, I guess I would advocate, what I'm saying is that we make sure we get the issues that everybody has at hand. We have a vehicle already present that we can just add to that. Is what is, now, Kevin Taylor, our town attorney, does that make sense, Kevin?
Yeah, but if you have two conflicting policies, the way this one passed would be relevant.
It would be?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, Brad,
Well-
didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Ms. Mary?
I don't think, but I think the handbook states something to the effect that, you know, the council has the right to develop its tobacco policy.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
It's not a comprehensive plan.
So it's not, it's,
Or
so
policy,
this
excuse
would be something that, one way or the other, we would have to agree to, either agree not to have one, or, you know, to develop this one. I 100% have faith in our department heads as far as designating areas for their departments, whether it is on, out in town on the job, or at their building.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by not having that specifically listed, I'm putting it in their hands and have trust in them. I also know that they're gonna use discretion with their employees. You know, if they see one, smoking, I know that they'll have to say, hey, you know, this is when we do it, this is where we're gonna do it. I don't see it as far as it being a dismissal issue. Although, with all of our other policies, you know, if we have an employee who habitually breaks or goes against the policy, then that is something that has to be mentioned as far as discussion of disciplinary actions. My biggest issue with the policy prior was moving from a non-smoking to tobacco use. And all of that word, that verbiage has all been fixed. So, I mean, if we add it to the employee handbook, then we can add it right into where it says the tobacco policy is as follows.
So, wait, I'll move on, let's see, Ms. Guerra.
Okay, I don't think we need two. We definitely do not need this. I think we need it all included in the handbook. And it needs to be in writing, and like this, like immediate discharge, that should not be in there. Because if it says that, that's what,
Puts us in a bind.
that puts us in a bind. And we could always discharge an employee if they're doing something. Doesn't have to be in writing
That's true,
anywhere.
that's true.
So, but that was the immediate discharge in the number 5 under the procedure. That's what I had a problem with.
Okay.
Because, but I think we just need one. We don't need two different policy and then what's already in our handbook.
Okay. Dole?
I think put it in the handbook,
What we want?
in the handbook, and then like Helen said, if it is, this one's will pass one, I mean, this will be on,
Supersede.
one last one you done. So we be better off putting the handbook, it's not make a smoke in the fall, I mean, the whole thing is right, something like that.
Okay. Scott?
I believe that the reason the council took this up was because we've had some employees that did use tobacco products, bring it to our attention. And then we checked to see what are the government's or governing bodies' responsibilities as far as protecting other employees, promoting health and wellness in the work environment. And I think this is well drafted. I think Elijah makes a good point that it shouldn't just be designated areas. It should be other temporary areas as well, that the supervisors or department heads are allowed to designate or make those calls with the employees. I think this allows that discretion. I think it allows common sense tobacco use by our employees. You know, I think we all agreed we would like it to be in an unconspicuous area if possible. That's not written in here, but we would like it to be out of the view of the public. I think Mr. Presley had made a comment that if he's, you know, off at the landfill working sanitation, I mean, obviously we're not going to have a problem with him using tobacco products. However, my personal opinion is if you're on Main Street and working, then I prefer you not to be having a cigarette in the side of your mouth. So I think it was a combination of protecting our property with the vehicles, with the buildings, protecting our employees. I think this policy is comprehensive. I don't think the policy that we have now, and Mr. Doty can read it, what's in our employee packet is comprehensive. I think if you adopt it here, whether it's this or in the handbook, it's one and the same, in my opinion. I would just suggest adding the language that Elijah had recommended, so that way it's real clear that the department heads have that discretion to where the employees can use the tobacco products. As far as the employee who violates this policy will be subject to disciplinary action up to and including immediate discharge. Our attorney had made a comment that all of our policy has that, regardless of what policy is, that's usually language that's included. So I agree. I mean, it's you know, all of our employees are at-will employees. So ultimately, the way our code reads, I believe, is that the council does the hiring and firing with this governing body, not supervisors, not the town manager. So, and there's nobody up here that's going to be unreasonable and not try to accommodate all of our employees. But I think this policy meets the goals that we set to accomplish with a comprehensive tobacco use policy.
Supervisor approval. I don't see that anywhere.
It's under policy, department heads, it's the second under policy, department heads have designated areas for their departments. And we'll have temporary designated areas set forth by the supervisor.
It's like a 30, it's like speed.
Well, the code, look at our code,
36
town
to
code,
35 miles an hour.
and it does say, all it says is we can develop, but I thought we had a personnel and staff manual in addition to policy.
I just know the one. It's the management policy, that's the only one I'm aware of. Yeah, look,
But it just, you're right, but it doesn't say,
It just says that we can develop, it
We can
doesn't, we
develop.
don't have
it's
them.
on page 35. All right, so, does the current, I want to make sure the current policy does address vehicles and equipment,
This policy.
the current, yeah, the one that's in front of us, and it addresses in all town facilities, correct? Says all areas of buildings. And it's in here, under second statement of the policy, that gives the supervisors to the local, their decision to designate tobacco areas.
But we can have that language there, that will include temporary designated areas.
Some of you ever have it worded, I don't know how to make sure that when they're out, that they can have control over that, or depending on what project they're on. For those are the four main components we had, that we wanted addressed? Is that right, Brad?
Vehicles for me is a no.
Buildings is no.
Buildings are a no. There needs to be a designated area for each structure, which is like the town hall. There needs to be a designated area set for it.
Shelters.
Shelters.
Anywhere we have a town designated area.
Correct. Shelters or parks and rec, those will have designated areas and they'll have signage. The ball field over here, we'll have a designated area for that.
Okay.
And I heard somebody say a minute ago, what about town citizens? Who said that a minute ago?
The press.
The press. Town citizens, even over here at the ball field, if it's a tobacco-free area, and there's a town citizen using tobacco, I would have no problem respectively asking them to go to a tobacco-free or to a designated area. Now, as far as walking up and down the sidewalk, that's not a concern of mine. It's in the
Can you
actual.
smoke in your vehicle in the parking lot? Like in your vehicle?
Personal vehicle?
Yes. Like if you're at the park or out here in your car smoking or dipping and you're a citizen, is that okay?
I think that's their problem.
Yeah,
I
that's
see.
That's private property, just don't
Yeah,
put that
we're not
cigarette,
going
don't
there.
put that cigarette.
I'm sure Eric don't wanna go there.
Just check.
Yeah, no. And usually what happens at ball games, well, particularly outside events, if someone lights up a cigarette and you've got people next to them who are legitimately allergic to tobacco, then, and they file a complaint, then I think it'll be on us for someone to address it, you know? I think, and a lot of it to me, you just need to be considerate of other people. I mean, I'm neighbors with Deanna, and if I happen to be on her edge of the yard or mowing and I smoke a cigarette and it offends her, I'm not gonna throw the cigarette over her yard. I'm just gonna go to the front porch.
So you're gonna make some
You know?
signage and put it at the ball field and the park?
Yeah, there's signage that's gonna be put up about it, is in that part of the plan.
Tobacco free.
There's a designated area.
Is
Where
there-
did, I mean, have we said where that designated area is, that they will know where it is?
There'll
Where
be
is it?
signage, where's Billy been putting it? It's in that field.
All you gotta do is walk across the road and first bank across the parking lot,
Yeah.
smoke all you want to.
Yeah. Go on the street.
That's fine, I don't.
They can go to the street, watch ball game, still burn one.
I mean, if we tell them they can't smoke in all these places that we have a designated
We need to
area
have,
for,
we'll post
we
it,
need
yeah.
to.
Now, is this, and I assume vaping is smoking,
Correct, it's in there, it's in there.
so,
Man, you'll be the first two to get in trouble, Tony.
No, I'm not gonna get in trouble. I'll stay in my personal vehicle.
And that's fine, just like they said, you know, if you walk over to the bank and smoke a cigarette, I don't have a problem with that. It's just, you know, somebody's standing on this deck over here around 15 or 20, 30
Yeah,
patrons.
that's what I was
You know, a
saying.
lot of, and you don't, you know, if you chew tobacco, a lot of people spit on the ground.
Well, there's people sitting under
Under,
there.
correct, so that's why there's an issue there
Yeah.
with tobacco use. And we can make it as hard or as simple as possible. It comes down to respect and, you know, free will.
Okay, are we ready to move? Are we ready?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve the Town of Lebanon tobacco-free policy as presented with the addition of adding other temporary areas under policy to allow department heads to have their designated areas and other temporary areas for their departments.
I'll second that motion.
Any further, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item?
And this would be in our manual as our smoking policy, supersede any other policy that we have.
Are we gonna keep the immediate discharge? That wording?
It doesn't say, anything. I mean, it
But
says,
it does.
well,
Up
She's talking
to,
about the top
it
sentence.
does say up to and including immediate discharge. I'm gonna assume, but, I mean, this is something that we have with the rest of our policies.
I say you ended the disciplinary action.
I think so too, because to me, it's still in writing,
As Scott was saying, and we've all said, I mean, it's at will and pleasure anyway.
anyway.
You say mark out including immediate discharge. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, that's just me.
Like Tony said, it ended at disciplinary action.
My motion is the document as presented with other temporary areas listed under policy.
So you understand, so you'll have to vote,
Either yes or no.
yes or no.
Can you repeat that motion?
Make a motion to approve the town of Lebanon tobacco-free policy as presented with the addition of other temporary areas under policy for the department heads to determine those areas.
It says our department heads, hasn't it?
But temporarily designated as key.
Well, we'll have the designated areas, but we talked about department heads being able to, for our field workers, they can determine where those areas are.
Mr. Blankenship, do you understand the revisions?
Yes.
Do you have any comments or any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, we have a motion. Did we get a second? Mary Stanley.
We have, hey, Mayor, before we vote, can we ask, is there anybody that has any questions or concerns before we vote?
Any employees?
Well, anybody.
Anybody have any comments regarding tobacco policy in the town of Lebanon?
I do have one question.
Difference, and you always have.
We always.
How would that fit in with events? When you have events on Main Street, how does that fit in?
What we did before was we did have an issue, we did have an issue where somebody was smoking right in the middle of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And an officer just came and asked them if they could step to the back,
You gonna go for it or
you
not?
know, just while they were smoking, if they could just step away from the crowd, so that's something that I would envision they would do.
Yeah, we'll probably do a designated area. But we, you know, there's one other thing. Did we resolve tobacco,
In the police car.
yeah,
The distinction between smoking and chewing in the police car.
Or any town vehicle.
Any county.
this is a tobacco policy, period. There's no distinction.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if it's proved like this, then it's,
So, the way it reads, supervisors, you'll determine that.
yeah.
If they violate it, they stop it, the way I read it.
Unless it's in property.
That's where I'm gonna have a concern.
Yeah, we're gonna have a problem there.
The property, town property, I think the policy reads, no tobacco
Yeah.
use in town property.
As it reads now, I would read it as no tobacco period in a town vehicle, period.
Tyler, you read?
That's exactly what I was going to point out. If a police officer can't have a dip when he's working a 12-hour shift in his vehicle.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, you said, if anybody talk, if he's in there for 12 hours, and most of your time's in that car, what you want him to do, jump out and throw a chew skull in his mouth, and then run up, spit it out, and run get another? He won't make a dime, because it'll cost him a fortune to throw it in there for a little bit. As long as he's got a bottle, every one of them's got a bottle sitting there. Does it matter if it's spit in it or drink? That's just my thoughts on it. You know, these police officers are special people. They have special jobs. They're not like the rest of us. They got special jobs, and that's a stress reliever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, cigarettes are a stress reliever. Tobacco's a stress reliever. These guys are under a lot of stress. We got a quiet little town, but it can go south real quick. So that's my opinion on it, but my opinion is like other things, everybody's got one.
That's,
I'd like a roll call vote on that, Mr. Mayor.
okay. Any further discussion before I do the roll call vote?
Well, has that issue been determined? They cannot do anything in the
As
field?
it's written,
I think as it's written now, it's no tobacco in all vehicles,
Yeah,
as it's written now.
as it's written now, they can't chew, dip, or spit in the town police vehicles.
And just, I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but the policy that I currently have in place for the department now is that they are allowed to use smokeless tobacco in a vehicle as long as they spit into a bottle with a lid, and that bottle is removed at the end of every shift. So that helps keeping the cleanliness of the town property. And our sergeants are routinely inspecting vehicles, to make sure that's being done. So,
I understand.
When you mentioned to me, Eric, about that you thought it would be unprofessional for police officers to address our citizens or business owners with dips in their mouth,
yes.
how
I do have a standing policy that there is no tobacco use period when interacting with the public. So they know that if, when they're getting out of the vehicle, there's to be no tobacco at all about when they're interacting with the public.
When they're interacting with
Yes.
the public.
The thing about it is, there's a lot of times, you know, is, for instance, I'll be quick, but just for instance, you know, just the other night, our officers were stuck at the hospital for over 8 hours in the ECO. One of them got cleared up, he had to go immediately to answer another call. And he told me, he said the only thing he was thinking about was getting that dip of tobacco. That's all he was thinking about. And if he's not, obviously, his priorities to the citizen, he's not going to take time to stop and get a dip, so he's going to go straight to the call. But he told me, he said, if I hadn't been able to get that dip on the way to that call, then while I'm talking to that citizen, all I'm going to be thinking about is, how can I get out here quick enough to get my tobacco? So, you know.
I've been in that shape.
Well, he might want to see his doctor, man, about getting some nicotine patches or something.
And obviously,
If it's
however
affecting his job like that.
However it's passed, we'll deal with it, you know, it's just, that's the concerns they want me to bring up.
Well, it's gonna be hard, in my opinion, to give the police department access to chewing tobacco in a police vehicle and not give any other street department or employee access to chew in a town vehicle as well. So it's, I mean, it's something that, to me, we needed to disclose that up front. 100%, there needs to be no questions when this, if this thing is passed or not passed, it's tabled or pretty well shot down, so
And this policy doesn't limit on the amount of breaks you can take or where you take them. I mean, as far as, you know, on the job, on patrol, that's my understanding. There is no limitations on the amount of breaks that we're limiting, the patrol officers to, correct?
That's what I read.
So, with that being said, Eric, your department, when they're patrolling on a 12-hour shift or whatever, I mean, what is your discretion on how long they're in that car? That's something we need to know as a council, because I don't know that.
I don't know if I understand what you mean.
Well,
Do they take
they work
breaks?
12-hour shift.
They don't take lunch
12 hours.
No, they do not take, I mean, if they go eat, they stay on the clock, because if they get called, they have to leave. They don't get any time that they're able to clock out and just have a minute that they're not responsible for answering the call if they get a call. So they eat when they get a chance, they grab a snack when they get a chance. There's no clocking in and out.
Well, our employees, the other employees don't clock in and out to smoke.
Right.
What I'm asking is, on a 12-hour shift, do the officers get a chance to take a break during that 12 hours?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's times that they could get out of the vehicle and take it.
That's what-
Yeah, I'm sure there is certain times that they can, yeah, I mean, you know.
Okay.
Like you said, you know, we're pretty lucky we do have a good little town that, but, you know, there are a lot of times that you're just back to back to back on calls, but there are times that they do get a chance to take a break.
Okay, anything else? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Anything else? Dan will be doing a roll call vote. Liza?
I don't know.
No? Brad?
No, not right now.
Larry?
No, I'm good. I mean,
That's yes?
mhm.
Okay, Deanna?
No.
Cole?
No.
Scott?
Yes.
Okay, the motion fails, I believe, 4-2. Does that count that right? I guess, I was hoping, I thought to move this on down the road is going to continue with the previous. So what's council's, what do we need to do moving forward with this tight with this issue. Can we does the council, the way I'm hearing it, we have about 2 pieces of, concern that we have not worked out yet among the council. Is that, understanding that correct?
One is smokeless tobacco in town vehicles.
That's
That's
one.
one of them. What's the second one?
Well, then I have a
Wait a minute,
concern.
what's the first, what's that last?
Smokeless tobacco in town vehicles. That's my only concern with this policy. And if I was gonna change this policy to the council, to the general public, to Eric, or any supervisor, what I would say is if it's gonna be hard for me not to allow smokeless tobacco in a town vehicle, but that spit cup or that spit bottle, when they exit the vehicle, it needs to exit too. And not at the end of the shift. I'm not a fan of those things. I'm not a tobacco user. But I don't know how you're gonna stop a vehicle and then take that spit bottle with you either. So that's, I mean, because if they're spilled in the vehicle, around the computer, around those control boxes, it's degradation of the town's property. That's the issue that I have with tobacco. Smokeless tobacco is, now you have, but if you spill a soft drink or whatever, same thing. So I don't know, but I'm 100% against smoking in
And that was one of the main reasons I stressed to my guys, that you spit into a bottle with a lid, and, the lid stays on it and everything.
Does
So
that
I like you,
apply, does that apply just to police car, or a man goes down the road in a dump truck and he chew and spit the ball if he's on?
That's what I was saying earlier, just like I said, I don't think we can discriminate against the rest of the town employees and let the piece of police, we just need to be straight across the board. But that's my concern with the policy, that's not really only.
Mayor, I just feel like it's too important of a document with too many gray areas to rush
Okay,
until I feel comfortable. I
okay.
just feel like there's still some areas
We're
in,
not ready in your mind.
I just still feel like there's some areas in there that
Okay.
need polishing.
Ms. Mary, Ms. Stanley? Anything else? Ms. Deanna?
I still think the only issue that I could think of would be the police, because all these other employees get out of their vehicles. They would take breaks, but the town, police, most of the time are in their vehicles, all this, their whole shift.
Yes, it'd be a little more, we don't have designated job sites that we can just kind of step back away, and it'd be a little bit more difficult to, you just see a lot of vehicles pull off the side of the road and someone standing out beside of it using
And
tobacco.
people would complain about that.
Yeah, the heartbeat.
But like,
They see you stand out there chewing, smoking a cigarette with a police car.
Exactly, yeah. You can be more discreet inside that vehicle.
Yeah. Okay, anything else, Deanna?
but are you including, is this cigarettes too? I don't think they should be.
Personally, and I hate to sound like I'm dividing them, but I think you can see the distinction, because if someone is smoking in the vehicle, some of that is left over in the vehicle. So if someone else gets in it, it is detrimental to their health.
Yeah.
Where I think as smokeless tobacco, I don't see someone else supposed to be in that vehicle, that's going to impact their health.
Okay.
This is the way I would think about it.
And two, you all do the rest, and these are people you arrested in that vehicle, right?
Exactly, yes, ma'am.
So
That's why I don't like smoking. And I completely agree there should be no smoking in the vehicle.
Anything else, Deanna?
Now that's,
No, anything else?
No, just, in the last line down, I says, no employee shall have any retaliation or ask any questions when they get rolled up. Everybody's got an opinion of why you're getting rolled up.
I think
It says for raising a complaint or asking a question about this policy. No employee shall suffer any form of retaliation for raising a complaint. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, but the complaint would be if they got caught smoking or chewing.
I read that as there,
I would just close as there would be no retaliation for.
they're doing that.
bringing up questions about the policy, we can't be.
I think that would be like, if Darrell brings up a question about the policy in meeting tonight, we're not gonna retaliate against him tomorrow.
That's the way I would do it.
Okay.
Anything else, Scott?
Yes, I would just ask that the personnel committee continue to work on a comprehensive policy. At the end of the day, we're still not protecting the employees that have come to us individually about smoking. So as of right now, with no policy in place, we still allow smoking in our facilities?
No,
I think that's an issue.
There's nothing in our
Oh,
facilities.
excuse me, in our property, like our vehicles.
no, we don't smoke.
I think we were smoking in the vehicles over
No, you
here.
do, they don't smoke no vehicle, they.
There hasn't been no smoking as far as.
No buildings?
In vehicles or buildings, it's all been outside,
Or equipment.
or equipment.
That's already been addressed.
You got those two already covered.
All right.
Okay. I'll leave that at, Dole.
Is that in the,
I'll leave
is
that
that in the, did we adopt a policy? Because I don't know, where did we officially adopt that policy besides just
We didn't adopt.
Word of mouth.
talking about it?
I think we,
We
the
have,
council directed Kevin for
You
those
did.
two items.
Yeah.
When we
So
started this discussion.
Do we not need to reduce it to writing at some point and have it, I mean, so that way everybody's clear and,
Can make
so I would just ask the committee just to continue to work to get the policy in the manual there. That's what I would ask.
You make a good point though, Scott. We need, I'm thinking, Mr. Tiller, help me out here now. We've already told the employees they can't smoke in the vehicles and in the buildings. But as he said, as Scott and Brad are saying, we have that nowhere in writing.
I don't know.
We don't. It's not, there's nothing in here.
Can we make an amendment to the
Code of
handbook?
ordinances.
Huh?
You don't have anything in the code of ordinances or anything?
The only thing that we're following the code of ordinances is the Virginia law for buildings. But I think we did our own thing on the vehicles. It was a consensus of the council. And I believe Kevin's told the employees. Have y'all been told
yeah,
that?
probably about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So can we make an amendment to the handbook, no smoking in equipment, vehicles, and buildings, that's irrelevant, because that's state.
Do we need to address what's already addressed in the Code of Virginia? to get
No,
other land?
you can, but unless you want to make it more restrictive than the state. You can't make it less restrictive.
Okay, Mr. Chairman of the Personnel Committee, I'd like you to call a meeting between now and our April meeting and see if we can come up with a revised document that addresses all the issues that have come up here tonight.
We'll do, Mr. Mayor.
Okay?
Maybe.
Huh? Might be 3 lines, that's right.
It may be what?
Might be 3 lines.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I was kinda hoping that it wouldn't be that simple. I thought
It
we,
should be that
I
simple.
just thought it was gonna be no vehicle.
Maybe.
Well, in the building.
Probably.
The issue that we got stumped on is the,
Smoke, Mr. Mayor.
Smokeless vehicles and terminations.
Termination of employees. Okay, Kevin, we're moving on.
Yes, item 2, I've actually got an email, it's toward the back of the information. You want to turn there. It's an email to Ms. Diane. And this is basically a request from the owner of Stone Cellar. They actually owe the town some meal tax, and they're ready to pay it completely, but they would like to see if the council would waive the fees.
Is that the previous owners or current owners?
Previous.
Kevin, I'm sure you've dealt with these
Right.
as our
That's what
attorney.
I saw that.
I found it,
Huh?
I found it.
So the judgment was entered back in 2019 and they're just now coming to get set up with that.
And of course, once it's reduced to judgment, you get statutory interest, which is 6%. We calculate that through.
She's taking the way through, for, up close detail.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
back up,
we-
back up.
If we don't, then they said, we'll all have to wait through. That's, they waste food or money, town money, right?
Yeah.
What's number 1 and 2 listed?
One was for business license and one was for meals tax.
This
There it
customer
is.
Where you at now?
contacted me and I think
Oh, that's
they
so funny.
kind of went through a hard spell financially and they're now in a better shape and so they wanted to clear it up with the table.
Give us the money. It's just a-
Have they been in contact with you since beforehand? Here's my issue with this. We've got a page of delinquents back here. And if they're not in contact when you're calling them or you're sending certified letters, I have a hard time giving up these fees and Kevin's fees for filing judgment. Because if you go to the point that this, I mean, you're talking about 2019, November 12, 2019 was when judgment was filed. They're just now contacting us. I have a hard time with that.
Does this have anything to do
Because
with the
anybody-
new owners? Clearing the new owners? Okay. I understand who you are, Elijah. I will say this, though, I would rather have that total amount right now in our account that you're willing to pay. So basically, they're saying, Mr. Tiller, and I understand that they're paying the full amount, but they're requesting the interest.
That's my understanding, yeah.
They're requesting the interest to be removed.
And costs.
That'd be 90560.
So basically, the top line in each one of them, is that correct? The judgment amount,
Yeah, the top one, I'm sorry, yeah.
is that right, Kevin?
I didn't talk to them, that's what Diane.
Have you got it in your agenda?
I do, yeah. I didn't actually talk to them. Diane called me and asked me to figure.
So it's the top line in each one of these?
Top line is the actual principal amount of the judgment, and then after that's the accrued interest through March 2nd, which is the day we figured this, and then the last thing is the court costs.
But can you still hold her feet to the fire and get it off?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's a principle thing for me, Mayor. If we're gonna vote on what we do, I want a roll call vote, because they've been since 2019. And if you get a speeding ticket in town, guess what you get to pay? You get to pay the fine. If you don't pay your meals and lodging taxes for 2 years, guess what? You get to pay the interest costs and the cost of filing judgment. I don't agree. I agree that they owe the interest to the town. They've kept the town's money. That was their responsibility to pay for almost, going on a year and 4 months. I don't agree with that. I agree that they pay what's owed, and we clear it off the books.
Okay, we've had a request made, we need to take action on it. Is there any motion to come before the council regarding their request?
I'll make a motion that we do not cut any corners, that what's owed is owed.
So that's a motion to deny the request?
Yes. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Get it all in.
But, yeah,
Roll call vote.
so further discussion there.
Oh, go ahead.
Kevin, what would be our legal fees for some,
Well, you can't get legal fees.
I mean, just curious, what?
It's $1,148 difference.
Yeah, I mean, that's the interest, this wouldn't include my fees, which, on this, which would be a warrant debt, it'd be minimal.
I'd be willing to waive the legal fees.
The amount,
How about that?
the amount they're requesting is $1,049.15.
Okay, we have a motion to deny the request. Is there a second?
Second.
Doyle did second. Roll call vote, Mr. Gilmer.
Pay in full.
So that's yes, okay.
Yes.
Doyle?
Pay in full.
Yes. This is a yes or no question.
You're voting yes on that.
You're gonna have to
I'm
just,
voting yes to get it off.
okay, you're voting yes for the motion.
I'm voting yes for the motion.
Yeah.
I'll probably be the only one, but I might just accept it, the judgment amount and get it off their books, so I'll vote no.
No. Mary?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Lige?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 5-1. Kevin? You already, what your plan was has not worked. The first two items on your reports, big deal, like you said. Number 3.
The next one is, Mr. Gilmore had asked that we would provide a little bit of information in regards to the PDRs that the Lane Group is involved. And it's actually in your packet. So if you've got any questions.
For all 3 of the PERs?
Yes, sir. It's an email that I've received from Mr. Mullins.
Yeah, I got, do you have any further information? So I did see that. Get to it.
Can you explain those PGRs to the council, Kevin?
And maybe give us a little bit more detail than what is,
Yes, yes, I can. And of course, we have, Ms. Diane reminded me that we actually have the agreements that we can email those to you as well if you'd like to take a look at that. But basically, if everybody's looking there at the email, there's actually 3 of them. The first one was actually passed prior to me coming on board. But basically what they're doing is they are mapping the water and the sewer system so that we'll have a map, as well as after they have everything mapped, they're also doing a hydraulic study so that we can know where the pressure zones and so forth is throughout the town.
in this email, it says it's 25% complete.
Yes, and it is 25% complete.
And do they have, like when it would be finished?
Obviously, we are wanting to get it finished as soon as possible, but my thinking probably for the spring, well, probably for the summer.
What's the time frame? All these are grant monies that we were awarded. Is there a time frame in those grant applications that you have to expend the money like you do the block grant?
I don't think there is, but I feel pretty confident they'll get them done this year. It may be in the summer. What's happened is, through the COVID and the winter and getting back and forth, because they had to meet with our guys as well, Billy and Hank, trying to sort of provide some information for them. And obviously we've been pretty busy, so that's some of the reasons why that it's took a little bit longer. But, you know, when you're looking at mapping an entire system, water and sewer, and put it on GIS on a map, and all your valves, all your things of that nature, then that's quite a bit of work to do. But then also they have a hydraulic software that actually gives the hydraulics to your system, which
provides you pressure zones throughout your system. So the map would actually give you what the water pressure is right outside the town hall. What's the pressure down at McDonald's? What's the pressure? So it's pretty elaborate. It takes some time, and so that's the biggest reason why it just took so long.
Kevin, can I make a suggestion? Could you send out these task orders? This is essentially like the agreements that Diane had produced for me just prior to the meeting.
Okay.
It's got the kind of the scope of work of each PER. It's got the loan amount, and it also has the schedule on it. For example, the water and sewer needs, the $50,000 grant, I guess that was the mapping.
Yes.
It's got a 150-day schedule on it.
Okay.
And each of them has a service, the engineering services that will be provided. And it's got the schedule of completion along with the scope of work included in the document. So I just suggest sending this out to the council.
Okay.
And I think that kind of, it answers my questions as far as the work that was being done. It really doesn't answer my question as far as what do we do with this information, which I'm sure the mapping can always be updated, it needs to be updated. But I'm assuming that the PERs at the wastewater and water treatment plant will allow us to develop a capital improvement plan. And I think, for example, Chris Pritt has already put together a plan, and that way we can start, as quick as this upcoming budget year, starting to budget on some of these improvements.
Yes.
Kevin, also this PER, will that give us any information on where we're overpressure, where we may be losing some of this water percentage as far as wastewater or water treatment plant goes?
Is it what now?
Is this going to give us any information on where we may be too high pressure, where we're generating water leaks to help mitigate that loss?
It will identify all the pressures, but usually when you go through your engineering design and so forth of your system, all of that is in play when you put your downtown tank or your tanks, your water tanks and so forth, that gives pretty much what the pressure zones are going to be. So we do have currently some pressure relief valves out in our system in areas where it is too much pressure. Pretty sure there's one on Cleveland Road and maybe one or two others throughout town, but I do know that we have some areas that is a little bit high, so we've got some pressure regulators on a couple areas.
And I know that just since we're talking about PERs and wastewater and water treatment, I know that we had decreased down to 26% loss. So that's an 8% decrease from where we were previously, that's commendable. And I know we've been fixing some water leaks, so good on those guys there, but I'd like to see that trend continue. That's something we need to keep working at.
Yes, we will.
Anything else regarding the PPR project updates? And then item 4, Kevin.
Item 4, and Mr. Lambert, you chime in. This is your passion. This is the ball field lighting and so forth. I've actually got one of the quotes, and it's actually, this should be easy to find, it's the very last one.
Is that Acorn Electric?
Yes, sir. And I think, did you hand out? And Miss Diane has also handed out another quote from Hall and Scott Electric. You guys to view. Hall and Scott Electric, they've actually got some diagrams with theirs to try to provide a little more information as far as the lighting.
Hall and Scott came with the Atlas paperwork, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, this is repaired, Mayor, this is not the new.
This is just,
Remember last meeting?
these are,
How much is
a
that?
couple of these quotes are for new lights to go on existing poles, and one quote is to fix the lights that are there.
So we're not the same quote then.
They're comparable.
Oh, the comparable.
They're comparable. Musco was the only people to quote a turnkey system.
And it's in here in the agenda, correct?
Musco is not. Musco is one that Brad.
Musco's the one that I presented.
Last time.
That was a turnkey, new wiring, new poles, new
Yeah.
lights,
And then you sent that.
everything.
Oh, Moscow, what's that? That's the Christmas decorations. Okay. M&Ms, okay. Well, Shane, did you get one of these?
I got both of these. I had both of these companies come. Acorn is the one that did all the electrical in the building in the rec center.
Oh, okay.
And Hall came in, the extra stuff that we did, Hall, Scott, they came and gave us a quote for any additional electricity that we needed over there. And that's the two I contacted.
Okay.
And basically I asked them to give you two quotes. One was to fix what's there. That's what you all have requested. Fix what's there, so what it cost. And the other was just to replace the lighting with LED lights. And that's the two quotes you got from those two companies.
So we got two quotes within their presentation.
Correct.
Repair and replace.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, let the council know that that's front and back on Hall and Scott.
I was looking for the quote.
It's on the back.
Brad, you worked with it, I mean, the towns have experience with Acorn.
Yeah. Before we proceed, Mayor, Kevin, what's your professional opinion since being asked to review the lighting system over here?
Yeah, well, I spoke with Chris Dye just to make sure what the situation is over there at the ball field. Basically, both of these quotes, what they are doing is
What's your professional opinion?
Oh, of doing this?
Yes.
Which
As
one
in-
would you do?
Huh?
What do you get?
Were you able to get
You
on
were
site?
asked, you were asked to go on site and assess the lighting issue that we have. What was your assessment? Put all these quotes aside, I want to know your thought.
Well, the biggest thing that needs to be replaced, the wiring that's actually in the ground right now, they've had some issues in the past. Currently, there's no issues or no ground, but they're basically just patched. We can have an issue tomorrow, or it may be okay for two or three years or whatever, but as far as the wiring, all the wiring needs to be replaced. And then, of course, the lighting fixtures, obviously it needs replaced. So it just depends on how we want to proceed, you know, as far as what we want to live with, how much money we want to spend. I mean, basically, that's where we're at, but, you know, there is some issues with the wiring, definitely.
Is that a on-the-job assessment, or is that just a verbal with Chris Dye?
No, we were actually over there. I mean, I didn't actually look at the wires, as far as what was damaged, but there's 2 or 3 areas out in the field that they've actually had to uncover the conduits, basically do some resplicing. Obviously, you don't want that, but it's working, and it got them out of trouble. But then also a conversation with Chris Dye, because he was the one that actually did the splicing. But I think the wiring needs to be replaced, fixtures really needs to be replaced as well. But depends on what you want to live with. I mean, that's a decision that you've gotta make as far as how much money you want to spend. The one thing is, if you go with these guys, even if we did want to go with these quotes, everything is brand new at the poles, but we still have the problems in the ground.
Does the quotes, do these quotes include in the ground?
No.
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 They don't include any wiring.
No, none of these present tonight include rewiring.
Are we capable of doing the wiring, Kevin?
I think we can. I think, yeah.
Well, you're a power engineer, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So our problem is not any of these quotes. we could do without this, we need to do the wiring in the ground.
No, we're gonna have to
Well-
replace the fixtures.
Yeah, well, we do have some issues with some of the fixtures, and obviously they're old. But also in these quotes is there's also lighting in there that takes care of your walking trail. So if we put our walking trail lights up, we don't have to have the whole ball field up and running.
Which
So
one?
it saves us in power.
So that's additional lighting.
Yeah.
This
So,
quote's gonna-
so this is also lighting that's for the walking trail as well.
It's 22 new LED lights for the ball field and 7 new dusted on, or however you want it. If you can put it on a schedule or whatever, lighting for the walkway.
And they're LED as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So which one of these quotes include all of that?
The first quote radio LEDs are how,
Metal halides.
Yeah.
The lower quote is a metal halide bulb. The second quote is an LED fixture. So there's a total, almost, well, it's more than double the cost, but also it's more efficient.
So, we have 22 lights that are out over there, am I reading that? I mean.
No,
is
there's
that-
20, that's what they would replace.
There's 22
See,
total.
right now you've got 22 lights that run on the old bulb, the old ballast, and
Yes.
all that. And they gotta be replaced a lot, and those bulbs, Diane may know, but I think they're over $100 a piece.
So we didn't get a quote for just replacing the lights that were out?
Yes, we got a quote just to fix what's there. There's 2 quotes on each one.
Scott,
Yes,
to fix the ones that are already out
yep.
is attached to the Hall and Scott. Second, bold item, repair the existing lights is $209 each. So each light that out is $209 plus an initial $125.
But didn't we already vote on to go ahead and do that?
We did.
Okay.
And then Acorn, theirs just to repair the 22 100 watt or 1,000 watt metal halide fixtures was $14,900.
So Acorn didn't provide a quote for just,
They did not individualize it.
okay.
But just looking here. Hall and Scott, for the same numbers that's on Acorn, would be $6,186.
So what
As compared to 14,000?
Yes. That's 209 times 29,
What is that, 125?
plus 125 is $6,186.
but you still lost.
That's going back with the halide lights, and who knows when your wiring's gonna fail. I've got the AEP quote that I gave you all last time. That's to replace every light on the ball field, replace every light on the track, replace all the fixtures, the crossbars, and all new wiring
Only wiring in the ground.
And the ground wiring?
is $68,730.
That's what I remember that figure.
Hang on just a second. I'm talking too much. That was 68,000. The Musco option for that is a little bit higher. Was Musco 82? Yeah. Just from memory, yeah.
But Brad, that $209 per light, that don't do nothing with the wiring in the ground, does it?
Neither one of these quotes.
That's just fixing a ballast or a bulb.
Let's fix on what's out there right now.
So
On
it's
both,
just for the council's pleasure of how good of a Band-Aid you want to put on.
Okay.
Keep in mind with everything that we agree on, every light that we replace only has a 5-year warranty.
If you don't fix the wiring in the ground,
If
then
you don't
you'll
fix
put
the
the
wiring.
lights in.
If you don't fix the wiring might cause the light to go out.
But I thought we agreed last meeting to put a Band-Aid on it. We're changing our mind because that's what I thought. My suggestion would be to fix what we have that's out. And then, budget for capital outlays, try to get the project completed. I mean, up and down, what needs to be done over there, in the next fiscal year. That'd be my suggestion.
I'm okay, I'm okay with, I mean, and y'all know I would love to see a whole new lighting system. But for the time being, Little League's starting 3 weeks. We need to get those lights fixed now. So,
Fix what we got.
if the $209 fixes those lights, what we've got, that might be what we need to go with at this time.
What is the $125 service fee for setup or repair? What is
That's probably their cost for going through the trouble of ordering.
One time?
Yeah, that's the way I understand it, Shane.
That's what I.
Yeah, that's probably their trouble of ordering, their trouble of looking up parts,
Which-
scheduling stuff.
That's using the town's bucket truck, Kevin.
That's right.
That $209 includes using the town's bucket truck.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanna make sure you're.
Now, my
Yes.
only question, Kevin, on this, we're gonna be paying $209 a light. That's something that our guys could do.
Yes.
I mean, all they're gonna do is come change the ballast, change the whole fixture, or change the bulb.
I think what we run into though is Chris Dye, he's not the town's electrician. I mean, he is, but he's not.
He's not.
He works in a water department, and we have to pull him from that job anytime we do an electrician job. And so I feel like his job suffers sometimes because of that. I mean, I don't mean to misspeak, but I feel like, I mean, and it's great to have him because he can do so much electrical work. But if we pull our staff from other jobs that they have, it just creates a problem sometimes. Not all the time.
They got enough help out
We're well
there
staffed
to do
out there.
without one. We're well staffed out there.
Okay, I'm just saying, I think that becomes an issue, it seems like, when you speak to Chris or anybody like that, to bring him out to do something else sometimes.
That sounds like an issue that Kevin needs to address on Mr. Brent.
Right, we could work some kind
You all
of
need
schedule.
to fix that schedule. I don't think Chris down is bucking on doing electrical work.
No,
He's not.
Not even that, but Kevin is a power engineer, a master electrician.
Kevin needs to get these up.
Well, I'm still sitting here and I haven't understood. We can replace all the light bulbs in the world on those poles. But who is fixing the wiring?
underground?
Who's taking care of the underground? I mean, from what I'm hearing, we put brand new lights up there. And if that wiring ain't correct up there, Brad, that's wasted money.
But Kevin says their town employees could do the underground wiring, right?
It may last 3 years, according to Kevin, so.
So you can see, you can oversee and getting that wiring done. We have 3 weeks before Little League starts. How long does it take to get the light fixtures?
Well, that's what I had to check on is delivery. I have to
I
check.
think
to
both
see.
of these contractors said 3 to 4 weeks before they could get them in.
Okay.
But
I
we
mean,
could do the
I'd
underground wiring.
hate to be doing ditches out there right when things are starting up.
Let me
I like to do that
ask-
I like to
We
do it off
ran
season.
we ran into it last year. We were right in the middle of games and practices, and we had a cable ground out underground, and we ended up, they had to dig the trail while everything was going on.
So our how many lights are out?
I don't remember how many actually are loud.
I know one whole set's out, the left center, I'm thinking, that whole pole's out, I'm thinking. Is that right, Brad, you think?
It is.
It's about, what, 5 or 6 fixtures on a pole?
So my next question, is that a ground problem or a bulb problem?
It's not a bulb problem. We put bulbs in last year.
And it didn't fix that light situation? No.
Brad, do you know
There's 9 bulbs out.
how?
There's 9 bulbs out.
But wouldn't they have checked those, Brian, to see if there's power, to say that was, they could just,
The thing is,
it's the,
it's fixed today, they shut off. You don't know what's gonna happen when they kick back up.
but
That's what we ran into last year. Last year, Chris had every light working. They shut off. When they cut back on, there was another ground somewhere.
So it's in the ground, back to being a problem in the
And
ground.
wiring, yes.
So does each one of those bulbs run off its own separate valve?
Yes, each one of them has its own ballast. It should. It depends on the design of them. Some have their own ballast, and some just has one ballast for all, but I'm thinking those have a
Each
ballast.
light has its own ballast,
Yeah.
each pole has its own breaker.
Scott, you have to have light everywhere, though. We'll have to have light.
I don't know if
So here's my concern, here's my
But
question.
the,
Was the pole checked at the breaker to see if there was a valid breaker?
Well, Parks and Rec, I guess, I don't know. I mean, what are we doing?
I'm not sure.
That was the email that I sent today.
I
Have Chris and I, you and Chris and I go look at the issue with the field.
thought.
If there's no power to the breakers, then the lights aren't gonna work.
Oh, yeah.
So now we got a wiring issue, not a bulb or a ballast issue. That was the concern there.
Right.
That was the direction I gave in the email, was, hey, can we go out and check what the issue is? Get a meter, go check it, did we do that?
Not today, not today.
Did we do it since the email was sent?
When did you send the email?
So, all right, here's my question. So, Brad, if they gave us a quote for the $200 and some, I'm sure they assessed it to show that it had power to on the pole that was working up to the light. So that would temporarily take care of the problem. Is that not correct? I mean, is that not correct, or did they not? Or is that a question for Shane and Kevin?
That's a question for Shane and Kevin, I wasn't here.
I don't know that they know,
So, 'cause, I mean, if you go change the bulbs and it's still out, it don't do us any
they were
good.
asked, this is what I told them, to fix what was there. That's the first quote we wanted, fix what's there. They were told that whole pole did not work. So they knew that didn't work. Now, that's not saying that in their quote, they're saying, well, we'll fix the power to it. They're saying they'll fix what's on the pole. That's my understanding.
How many games an evening over there, Brad, during the season?
2.
Two per evening.
And how early do they start?
6 to 7:30, 7:30 to 9. You can't ask people to get here much earlier than that.
Okay, what we're saying, you can't do the wiring now because the Little League starting, you don't want to do that. So what else can you do?
Yeah.
Nothing now. Right?
What I can do is I can get with Chris and we can go over there tomorrow and look at it again and see exactly what's what and give you guys some recommendations.
Well,
Thing is, we asked you
That's what I thought.
3 weeks ago to, in an email, to already have this done.
Okay.
And already have these answers
Is
done.
it the rec park lighting issues?
No, it was an email sent from Elijah
Yeah, that's it.
that you replied to, February 11th.
And that's where we got the quotes.
That's all you got out of that email?
Okay, we're gonna have to, we can't, let me say this, I don't believe, they're starting in 3 weeks, so obviously, we can't wait till the next council meeting to fix this, okay? Sounds, listen to all this discussion, I think you go over there, turn all the lights on, see what's working, see what's not, put bulbs in them, and see if they continue to work. And then, I guess, Brad, I hate to put it on you, but you're the contact force,
It's okay.
Lily, and we just adjust after every night.
I would like to see the town at least inspect the electrical from the light
Yeah,
to the junction box and see where we're at.
I agree.
And Tony, I agree with you. We need to fix what we got over there. I mean, if it's, I just didn't want to take on that project right with the start of the season where we're putting
Right.
conduit all the way around the track
Oh, yeah.
through, you know what I'm saying? So I'm with you and Brad. I mean, we need to know where it's grounded, if it's getting grounded. If it's already grounded on the one pole that Shane says is out. And if we can fix that for now and and, plan on fixing this thing at the end of the season, that's more convenient for our citizens and the Little League and the travel ball teams, I think we need to make that capital investment.
Okay, so, for right now, again, Brad, I'm gonna call on you. Kevin, how many days will it take for you to get with Chris, find out what's not working, fix the bulbs, get the bulbs ordered? And I don't know, maybe we've got replacement bulbs around here somewhere right now, I don't know.
Yeah, we do.
Well, use those, and then what's the other thing we need to check, Brad, from the, what'd you call it?
We just need to check the ballast, at least after each pole's got a junction box. At least check the wiring to that junction box.
Okay.
So how long should that take?
Well, I'll get with Chris tomorrow, and as long as he's working, we'll just run out there and start looking at it tomorrow, so I think I should be able to let you know something this week as far as what's going on.
Should it take 4 days?
No, it depends on,
All we want to know is there power to the breaker box?
yeah, that would be real quick.
Okay. And then you'll know, all we all need to know is how many lights are out, and if we've got another replacement.
Okay.
All I need to know from you is if you would send an email to everybody, then these 2 items, we're good to go.
Okay.
Is that, am I right? Is that what we're
I'd
running?
like to have that by Friday.
Oh, yeah.
If you have trouble finding bulbs, I'd like to chip in.
Okay.
And if you can get it before Friday, that would be,
Well, as soon as we get it done, we'll send it, but we'll definitely have it before Friday.
We're gonna direct them this week.
Yes.
Okay. Are we ready to move on? Are you through, Kevin?
Yes, I'm done.
At this time? We're gonna get ready to declare a 15-minute break. Back in order. Ms. Stanley, let's talk about the Cedar Fest brochure, please.
They are in your information, along with a quote from Clark's Printing, which you all had asked for me to get several different quotes. So he did us 3, if you'll see. His quote is in front of the brochure. She made all of the changes as we asked her to. The new picture is with Historic Downtown. Changes the coloring, the lighting, everything with the whole brochure. It looks good. I mean, I do. If you want, we can change it again. If you'll see another change she made, right underneath the Facebook and the Parks and Rec logo, she put social distancing guidelines and that there will be food trucks. We added that different font just to make it more noticeable. She added the different events where they were going to be. When we're ready, she'll send it on to Clark's, and you'll see on Clark's for 5,000 brochures, which is what we ordered the last time. On the recycled mat, it's going to be 570. With the gloss, which we ordered the last time, was $619. So there's not much difference between.
We had 53,
Yeah,
and I like the clock too.
yeah. We approve this, so we can release this to the press, on social media. We approve all this tonight, can we move forward advertising, social media, right?
Yep. As long as everybody's okay, we can release it to the public. And it's real good.
It does. Mary, thank you, Liz.
I just need to know which one you all would like.
We want the gloss. That'd be my recommendation.
the updated town photo looks really nice also.
Need a motion to approve the calendar, the Cedar Fest, the calendar of events for 2021, and the quote from Mr. Clark for the brochure, the printing of the brochures
With the gloss text.
with the gloss text.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Shane, Can you give the council an update on your contacts with the different groups that are coming?
Yeah, I can.
If you would, please.
Basically, I've been trying to just touch base with all the folks coming, basically to Cedar Fest, because that's our first one, and that's what's coming up quickest. But I've contacted all those, except for, and it may be something where I talked to Sam White, that he contacts them, I don't know, but I had another band that I don't have any information on, and that was the Troy Burns family.
Sam, contact Sam.
Okay, so I already talked to him, so.
He's got, he CMC and all that stuff.
Well, I talked to him when he told me to get up with him, and he said he would do his email stuff. So that was the only question I had. But, Cedar Fest, I've got with Sawyer Brown, and talked to their manager. He was a pretty good guy. He was straightforward. I think it'll be pretty smooth transition for them to come here and do what they do. He said not to make a huge deal out of things, that we would talk closer as we get to the event, and we would plan what they want to eat and all that. He said, not a major deal. He said the one thing he said was, make sure you do not serve us cheesecake.
Okay.
So that was one thing.
Maggie Ball.
Maggie Ball, I spoke to them by email, and Melissa Q is, I guess, her online agent or whatever, and she emailed me back and just had a few questions, and we've been working on getting that stuff to her, like what's loading time, which some of the stuff I have no clue what it means, to be honest with you. I don't know what a load-in time is. I have no idea what that is. But sound check, I know what a sound check is. I know they want to know what time they will do their sound check, stuff like that. And we'll get that a little bit closer to as we get with the stage folks. Daly and Vincent, I did send you that email where I did talk to them, and they wanted some of that same information as well. They're the only ones that haven't given me, which I think they're working on some of that information, but they're the only ones that haven't given me the room numbers.
Let's see, did you talk to Cole Camp too?
I have been talking to Clay from Cole Camp, and what he's running up against right now, I don't know if you know this, but Richlands is planning an event the same day, rocking the river or something like that. But now that they know that we're having this one with Sawyer Brown, they may move theirs. So I don't know. But Clay said, when the council was talking about moving it to the date, that he was looking for dates and that's coming up. So right now, he's still doing this show.
At 4 o'clock, you tell him.
Okay, 4 o'clock. They'll go on at 4 o'clock.
That's right.
Okay.
How about food trucks?
Huh?
Food trucks.
Food trucks, I've been working on food trucks. It's been a little difficult, just being honest. The list that I had to go by was the 2019 that Diane gave me. And four or five of those, either no answer or not doing services anymore. But I have reached out to, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've reached out to 14. Of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 are new ones. And out of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have definitely said that they want to come to our events. So I've got 5, and one of them's a new one, which is Hot Mess Express out of Abington. They say they'll come over. I told them some of our events, told them about stuff, and they said they want to come over. So Appalachian says they'll come to every event that they can.
Have they given you a date as far as have they said, yes, they'll come, or
Appalachian has,
that they'll come for Cedar Fest, for
Yes.
example? Okay,
Yes.
that's us.
Appalachian has, the ones that have said they'll come to Cedar Fest or Appalachian, which they may just come Saturday, not Sunday.
Right.
And then Shugs, of course, is down the road here. They'll be here. Smoke Wagon, of course, which is Jason Barney. They'll be here. Gypsy Coffee Company says they're very interested in coming. So those are 4 that are definitely interested, and I'm sending Hot Mess Express the information tomorrow to get their business license, stuff like that, and they say they're very interested in coming to that one as
What
well.
about the ice cream?
Yeah.
So, she's got me another number for the other shack, because the one I had didn't work, so she said she had another one, so I'm
He's at the
gonna
bus
say,
garage.
He's at the bus garage.
okay.
J.C.
Is
Maxfield.
that the other shack?
Yeah,
Okay,
he works at the bus garage.
okay, I'll get up with you.
Thank you. Is it Maxfield?
We definitely,
J.C. Maxfield.
as we get warmer and stuff too, we definitely want those desserts.
Oh, yeah.
We want a dessert truck and all that, so, but yeah, I'm working on all that, so.
Brad, are we gonna need anything for opening day?
I was gonna ask that.
I'm trying to confirm the date right now. I think it's the 3rd.
Okay.
Little League?
I think it's April the 3rd. But I would like Shane, to definitely get that ice cream truck back.
Yeah,
They love that.
yeah.
And then, Jason Barney's a couple more for that day.
Yeah, I'd like to get probably Jason Barn. I'll get with him, because sometimes he does work weekends with the state police, so he can't get there.
And
So,
Bob Schutz.
yeah, I'm gonna get Shug's too, because that's hamburger hot dog.
Yeah.
Ball field, hamburger hot dog, that's what you want. Barbecue, hamburger hot dog. So just gives a choice.
Times they normally start with.
Say 10.
10 o'clock.
Parade generally starts at 10. We have the first game at 12.
And it ends about when. Who's the
6,
end?
7, end whenever we end.
Okay.
We have more games over here since our last time, we just had maybe 2 games or 1 game.
No, we had all day full.
All
Last
day?
year.
I didn't remember. Okay.
And what we would like to do this year is have 1 game in each division there.
Okay.
So like we might even have a T-ball game. So,
Hey Brad, just as a reminder, there was like a big pause from the parade to that first game starting, if you remember. Because the parade really lasted about 15 minutes, it seemed.
yeah, we've made some adjustments to that schedule.
Okay.
We'll fix that.
You want us there for the opening day on the
Absolutely.
ball field?
Absolutely. And I don't know what we did last time, if the town did that, but we paid for each child to have an ice cream voucher. I'm sure the town.
That's
should
all,
do
he
that.
still got some of them.
So,
We could,
I would
Can we
ask,
get the same way printed?
Is April 3rd,
And you same one.
is April 3rd not Easter weekend though?
it may be.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be a tough,
Oh,
It will be second.
that's
Is it
right.
not usually second?
Yeah, it might be the 10th. I'll let you know.
okay, I was gonna say, you might wanna do it the next weekend,
Yeah,
just because it's Easter weekend.
it probably is the
It
10th.
is
I
Easter.
think it is.
I don't have it here pops up, but I'll get it.
Just Good Friday is,
Can you just email us?
Yep.
Let us know, please.
Yeah, and I'll get us an agenda for that day and let the council know.
Will we not have to do the things for the ice cream for the kids? I mean, have those printed, Kevin, or Devin? Or,
We did, yeah, he printed
they
them.
did them,
I
they,
think there was 500
yeah.
printed,
We need to do
and
that,
that's plenty. But I do know that was a big hit.
yeah.
Okay.
And I would assume since COVID, the bounce houses would be a no-go. But they love that, but I think that's a no-go.
unless you put one in at a time. Then you go clean it and go like that.
No.
Shane, that ice cream truck was from Richmond. And it just one the other shack.
Social distance
There's, there's one from Castlewood, the ice cream shop or something, ice cream, something.
This was from Bristol. They give out like ice cream sandwiches, I think.
But this other has cones, don't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And they got us a deal on this, that lady did.
The Castlewood lady did it 1 year too, I remember,
Yeah.
I think.
Woman didn't want to come back, did she?
No, she, I called her
Say she
before.
wore out.
She didn't want to.
That day, it was a long day, wasn't it?
Yeah. She's giving a lot of ice cream.
What is Snow Shacks? Is he gonna be there?
He's been advertising, he's gonna open back up, so I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. Troy, come out Troy?
Yeah.
Have you reached out to Troy?
I have not reached out.
We'll do the
Yeah.
vouchers either or. And
I mean,
see
that's
what-
what I was gonna ask, did you do the vouchers, Scott, for the Kids Day, who took care of ordering those with Devin?
Heather and Diane, yes.
Just let Shane
Diane?
communicate with Diane.
Okay, is that okay?
What do you want me
To
to do?
get those vouchers for the ice cream,
Yeah.
whatever ice cream truck we have.
And y'all said Clark's printed those, or?
Clark.
He'll have them say.
And if you would, confirm with, Moore, Troy, and see if he's gonna be able to come. Shane, if that's the case, I think we do either or. And I'll see what ice cream on the
Okay.
voucher.
Okay.
Shane, have you reached out to Don Phillips? Have you been able to speak with him about the 4th of July?
I have not.
Get his number.
I did, I
You
have
did,
forwarded,
yeah.
yeah. Would you care just to reach out to
I will.
him maybe this week,
I will.
just to touch base
I'll do
with
that tomorrow
him?
morning.
Because it's not, is that right, that he's gonna go on first?
He does.
And then the military band will go on?
Military rock band.
Okay.
So Don,
You want anybody else besides those two?
let's see, we can.
Okay.
That's what's already on the program.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
do. Let's go with what we've got.
And then have you, had any, opportunity to maybe start setting up food trucks, just random days through the
I've
week?
been telling them, every time I contact them, if I contact them by email or if I talk to them, I tell them we're gonna start a new thing starting in May. It's called a food truck for a week. And we'll try to get a different food truck a week to come in here and set up random places in town, park, Old Mill Park, government center, just different stuff like that. So I have been telling them that, and nobody's bit yet, but I'll start pushing it a little bit more.
Okay,
But I have been telling them.
yeah, okay. Yeah,
You contacted the donut people,
Yeah, I have.
will they come?
They haven't got back to me yet.
She don't like to stay late, we like to close about 3 or 4 o'clock.
They come from Greenville, so they come every once in a while, and it seems like they don't let us know, and they come set up a CGI or something, but
What is the other one done that, there was another.
I think they're out of Wise, but I can't think of their name.
I have their contact information at the store.
Okay.
I got a bunch.
Good, I may get up with you.
Okay. Anything else for Shane? Appreciate all the work you've been doing during this downtime.
And I also want to give you a number. I know this is not event stuff, but this is just a number, a rough number of our downtown funds that we may be able to switch over to another section of our downtown revitalization. The rough number right now is $368,676.10. That's rough. That's not knowing how much we're spending on every facade that we've got left, stuff like that. So, but that's
386.
368,676.10.
And we could use, it has to be downtown.
That's right.
Correct. That has to be in either the housing portion, which they have just let us know if we're gonna do it yet or not. That's $232,000 right there. Street improvements, and see, that's a number we've gotta figure out. And we got, Beverly figuring that out for us and looking to see what she's actually drawn down. Because I'm thinking there's some money that the town has drawn down that you know yourself, that may be in there. So, but right now, in street improvements, we've got $37,699.10. Like I say, we need to figure out. And two, part of that is legal, and we have to, well, legal, we probably won't have any legal now, but the facade improvements has got some legal in it. The legal in that, we have to get those deeds recorded where we did work on the buildings. So those, we've got to get those recorded and we've got legal funds to do that.
Go through Kevin on that?
Yes.
Okay.
And we do have legal funds to pay for that, so it's set aside in the grant for that, so. The facade improvements right now, that's either left or ongoing in construction right now, is $241,657.21. So some of that's ongoing work, you know, the second set that's going on right now. And then, some of that is like, for instance, the family drug building, which they dropped out. So those funds, I think, for instance, they agreed to 25,000, so I built the budget around $25,000 for that. So that's 25,000 that will be used in the facade for that building, so we can recapture that and put it somewhere else.
What about the lawn pool money? Is it in that total?
That's $50,000. Yeah.
Part of that 368?
Yeah, that's in there, and like I said, that's something they said we can do away with since nobody's taking part of, so.
Shane, how can we get a definite answer on how much of these funds we would be able to do a budget revision and put towards the theater facade? How can we for us to budget and plan, that would be nice to know.
I think, and I really think, this is big deal on DHCD over the years. It's just, this is your money. This is the town's money. I think you can request, if it's in one of those elements, I think you request where you want it. They may come back and say, well, we don't want you to spend it all in one place. So like if you ask for all, which is not what you're gonna do, but say you ask for, say, 200,000 for the facade, for the theater, they may say, well, we would rather you not put all that towards the facade. Now, they may not say that if you say 150. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But also, if we show, like, coming on board Stone Cellar, she's asked for 2 almonds. She's got me her stuff for receipts and stuff like that. So there's another one that we can use these funds for that's not getting used, that we can use towards her building.
Can we get Kevin to give us can Kevin develop they're gonna require a quote, are they not, for the facade? We don't have a quote from Mr. Weaver.
Correct.
On that. Can we go ahead and get Kevin, I mean, I've got some information, I've got like Jerry Signs has gave us some quote information.
It'll be easier to sell it to them if you can show them what it's gonna cost.
So we need to do it.
If you can show what that facade, if you're gonna do the marquee, if you're gonna do the cleaning of it, if you're gonna do anything down the side that you can see from Main Street, it's gonna be key if you can show them what it's gonna cost. If you have an estimate in front of them saying, this is what this is gonna cost, and then you request that amount, it's hard for them to say, you can't have all.
Well, that's my thought. I mean, it's gonna be hard for us to ask for,
Correct.
$150,000 without giving them, and once we do bid it out, they're gonna see that the quote come in within reason to the quote, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So is that something that me, you and Kevin can work on maybe?
I feel like we could, because we've got, a lot of that information we've got. You know, we've got it from either the land group, Michael Weaver, or, you know, you've gotten it from, Sign Show, Sign Place, so. I feel like, yeah, we could probably come up with a rough estimate, you know, your estimates are supposed to be within 10% of the bids that come in. So, as long as we get really close to what we feel like it's gonna cost, and then that bid's within that 10%, then we can accept the bid, so.
So Scott, you and Shane, Kim will work on that thing in April or what?
Well, I just have some of those documents that show Jerry Signs, how much their estimate was. We have some of the documents that show how much that Mr. Weaver had estimated on some of the cosmetics, like the pressure washing, maybe even Highland glass on the box office and the window, something on the window. So I could just pass that along, information to these guys, and then let Kevin get any additional information we don't have to compile that estimate, Mayor, if that's okay.
That's good.
And I'll tell you, the budget revision's not cut and dry. It's not, 100% that they'll give us everything we ask for. But we need to have all of our i's dotted and t's crossed, because that makes it easier for them to say, yeah, go ahead. and do
I
that.
see, okay.
And it's a process. It's not gonna be a turnaround of, it'll take probably a month for them to review all that
Sure.
and get back to us. So,
Okay, yeah.
and we're gonna extend the work time till December, end of the year. So that's, that gets here quicker than you think though. So we need to be thinking about where we wanna put the budget revision dollars so that we can be ready to send that in when Debbie, puts that together and sends it to them. So, we need to get going pretty soon, I feel like.
Did you have a chance to talk to Debbie about, I don't know if I've got the right acronym, is it IRF funds?
I did, I told her that you had said that that's back online and we want to apply again. And she said she would get with Jim and they would start their process again.
Because Joy said, if we can get that business plan that we're using for ARC,
Yeah,
to make sure that we have that in that document this
Right.
time.
right,
She said it was a strong application, but the business plan is crucial.
yeah. And we'll have it.
Yeah.
I
we
mean,
have it
we
with it.
found that today, and I'll put
Yeah.
that out today. We'll have that probably in the March 1st, April.
Okay. Appreciate it, man, thank you.
Anything else?
Anything else for Shane?
April 10th,
April 10th.
confirmed.
Confirmed, opening day. Little League, opening day, April 10th.
This is such the Cedar Fest, logo.
Mm-hmm.
Would we want to do some, like, use t-shirts to sell?
I think you should. I'll be honest, I think you
I
should.
mean,
We
I
talked
think
about
we've
that.
already, we've talked about,
We even talked about putting the people that's, performing in the concerts, because you'd have a different one every year. People play with the t-shirts, so.
so if we use this logo on the front and then the performers on the back.
I would think
That's
so.
a good question also. Did we have some, sponsors, Mayor, for that?
We do.
We do.
It'd be a great idea for those sponsors of those
For
t-shirts.
sure.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
Okay, great. Good. Thanks, thank you, Bud. One company you dealt with, Scott, how long ago is it?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Who are you dealing with, maybe the wrong one?
It was the one that,
Fair enough.
Fairfield.
That's the other thing, right? It was last year, y'all licensed him churches, so go back to
I think she was bought out.
She was.
Yeah, so another lady runs it.
Yeah, she worked, well, that's the one that did them for us the last time, it wasn't.
That's who I've been dealing with lately for even this year.
Yeah,
It's Fairfield.
Fairtown.
You know, I'm gonna ask, I always ask a local business question. And we have, folks in town of Lebanon that do this work.
She's in the town of Lebanon.
Yep.
She's in the town of Lebanon, female minority owner.
Is that McLaughlin?
No.
What is her name? I can't remember her name.
I can't think, but she works at.
I can't think of the name either, but that's who makes all my
That's
shirts.
the, that's not the one, I'm talking about the one who used to high school.
Isn't it Helen?
Janet,
Janet McLaughlin,
Yeah.
down on.
She has slowed down quite a bit. I don't know if she's back up or
She's not
not.
operating.
She is,
She is up.
she is.
Little League is,
She would love the business.
well, I mean, as long as we're using, I just wanna make sure we're using a local town.
I tell you what, when we did t-shirts, I went out there, she never did it back.
Okay. There you go.
You give her a chance, need it in.
Huh?
You give her a chance,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
Very good.
I don't know.
All right, thank you, Shane.
Y'all done with me?
Are
Yeah,
you going to do the t-shirts?
Yeah, we'll work on it. Yeah,
you need to stay in touch with Ms. Deanna.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll do that.
please.
Anything else?
Appreciate it, James.
See you.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Shannon.
If you would look behind the tobacco, yeah, look behind the tobacco policy, not the tobacco policy. The, Christmas decorations that we utilize to VDOT road maintenance money. We've got to, well, we added 4 lights, we need to add 4 wreaths to the downtown main streets. You have the company that we normally deal with, and Diane, I want to thank you, I see you got, well, you got the 30% discount, didn't you? 29. Let's say 30.
That's a lot.
That's a good lift. And in the past, the council has asked Miss Deanna, myself, and Diane to work on the downtown decorations. And what you have in front of you. If you look to the one on the right upper hand corner, since we put our new lighting downtown, I think we can all agree that it has lit the town up well, okay? It's lit it up so well that the current across the street decoration we have, you can't really see it. It's older and it's dimmed. So the one that's quoted, now just one of those, not all of those, is the one with the wreaths and garland that matches the wreaths in the downtown pole streetlights. There are quotes here for the love sign. And I can't remember which we got. Do we have to pick which one, Diane?
Right, we did.
So, or 3 of the 4.
Just 3.
I mean, what's this one down here for?
This is
Four
one
later.
of the, for the left side, these 3 are for the left side.
That's what I thought. We got a picture. Everybody see what we're talking about? 1, 2, 3. Those are 3 options for the left side. And you need to pick which one the council would like to place out at the left side.
Diane says that it's snowing away.
One of those 3, we need to pick one of those 3 for the left side.
There would be 3 snowmen and a cane on either side if we pick the cane, and then the skaters, it would be the 2 different, the adults and the children.
You got the children on one side and the adults on the other. And if you all are not ready or don't want to pick them tonight, you can trust me and Diane and Deanna to pick them.
Can you use that urban maintenance money for that?
Absolutely, that's what we're using. We've been paying for. We found out that the other day, didn't we, kid? The VDOT people were here.
I'm good with letting you and Deanna sign there, move forward with urban maintenance funds.
Cool.
Yeah, y'all decide.
Mary? Ray?
Yes.
Raj? You want me and Deanna and Diane to decide, or do y'all want to decide?
Oh, y'all can, I'm fine with
If somebody don't like them, allows you, you can say they do.
it. Sure. I completely trust your judgment on the Christmas lights, but can we use urban maintenance funds for Christmas lights?
That's what we've been getting money back for. That's how we order downtown, Christmas decorations, wasn't it, Stan?
I'll find it out, for sure. I'm more than happy with you all picking. Choose me.
I think we use downtown revitalization funds.
Street money, that's what it was.
We got some left.
Streetscape.
The streetscape money.
We got some left.
Little test, Mary?
Say what?
We got enough to cover it. We got 36,000.
You expect me to know everything?
Thought that was like a new guy test or something.
I just want to see if y'all listen. Okay, Nick, let's move on, then. They trust us. All right, Eric,
Yes, sir.
you're up.
Okay.
Good luck.
Just real quick, let you know that for the month of February, we, the town of Lebanon patrolled 10,872 miles. We responded to 5 motor vehicle accidents. We made 29 total arrests and issued 56 total summons. Responded to 15 assist motorist calls and responded to a total of 354 total calls for service for the month. Of course, I guess what everybody's kind of interested in is if you got the traffic accident out here. Basically, Officer Worthington, and of course all this is public record, public information. He was on his way to work on Tuesday and came at the intersection here at Route 82 in Main Street where he collided with another vehicle which knocked him off the road onto the sidewalk and knocked over and destroyed the clock. He received minor injury. He did hurt his knee. We took him to the hospital and he's fine now, just a little sore, but he is okay now. And of course, he was issued a traffic summons in the accident for failure to yield right away. On that, I've reached out, but I have not got the information back from Versa on how much they will, I guess, compensate us for the vehicle that was injured, or even if they'll fix it or if they'll total it or what. I think they'll total it. It's pretty heavily damaged, but they have not gotten back with me or Danny. But as soon as we hear what how much they're going to give us, my hope is that they will allow us to strip the equipment that's usable out of that vehicle, so that when we buy a new one, we don't have to buy that equipment as well. That's my hope, but I don't know, they may just scrap the whole thing. I did get a quote or a price list for a replacement vehicle, just for you guys to kind of look at and see where we would be. Yes.
I do have a suggestion. You're talking, before we go any farther, you're talking about the equipment on that cruiser.
Yes.
There's one or two ways we can go about that. If they come out and write the estimate on it, make sure they add the equipment as accessories to the cruiser. If they do not add the accessories to the cruiser's cost, then we can strip that car.
Okay.
So either they're gonna let us have the equipment, or they need to add that, the total replacement cost of those accessories to the actual settlement.
Okay.
So I can get with you on that.
There's a few things on that vehicle that will not work on the new vehicles, and that was kind of a problem we ran with, like the cages and stuff. They won't fit in the new vehicle, so I'll have to ask them to count that into replacement cost. But most of the auxiliary lighting, control panels, siren boxes, stuff like that, I'm fairly certain that we can still use.
Can you tell us about the pedestrian?
Was not injured. First off, the major thing, it was not injured. Their vehicle was damaged, but didn't seem to be very heavily damaged. They drove it away from everything. Their statement was just that they got the green light, came off of the out of the intersection, and there was the cruiser, and they struck it.
So, where were we on Main Street?
Yes, right here. We were.
Our police vehicle?
Yes, police vehicle was coming eastbound on Main Street through this intersection right here, and the other vehicle came off of 82.
Toward 10.
Yes, turning left.
And their light was green, they came on, and our vehicle was there, and they hit it.
Yes. Yeah, and that's all just based upon the statements from the people involved. The TJ, he says he doesn't think his light was red, but he did say that he was not 100% sure. He said that he did look up at the light, and it was green, but then he did look back at his computer in his vehicle, and that's when he went through the intersection.
Okay. So you're gonna be in regular contact with Versa to try to get
Yes.
some decisions on the car?
Yes, and the last contact that I had with anybody is Danny told me that they were going to send somebody to look at the vehicle. And I guess then they'll make the decision whether to total it or whether to fix it, I guess. Virginia Sheriff's Association does have the procurement and stuff of the vehicles, and the Sheehy Ford, where we bought the last two vehicles, they actually, they had some 2020 left over, and it's on the state bid, and she went ahead and she knocked a couple thousand off if we want one of the 2020 leftovers. So I put that price for you guys if you want to take a look at it. And then I also put in a spreadsheet with the additional equipment that we ordered for the new one, that we could probably cut in half if we can take off of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's what we have here.
Yes, you'll see the first one with the Virginia Sheriff's Association. That takes care of the procurement on the vehicle because it is on the state bid.
What are we gonna do in the meantime, Eric, as far as
Well,
being a short patrol and as far as Mr. Worthington?
what I've done is, obviously we know Detective Kaiser is off for surgery right now. He's off for the next couple of weeks to get surgery on his shoulder. I have Officer Worthington riding Detective Kaiser's vehicle for the time being. We do have 2 spare Crown Vics. Well, 1 spare, one Officer Jackson's driving to the academy. We do have another Crown Vic that's operable, but it's got some issues. The dash lighting continues to go out on it, things like that. So it's got some gremlins in it, but we do have enough vehicles for them to ride for the time being. You know.
Is it an option to, if Mr. Kaiser comes back, to share a vehicle until we get this one replaced?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we can, and that's what I talked to you about, you know, just letting him switch up with somebody from a different shift. Obviously, we don't like the hot seat vehicles because it, you know, just kind of wears them down quicker, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay, anything else for the chief?
One other thing I could, if you wouldn't mind, Mayor, if you guys take closed session tonight, I would like to ask if myself and Mr. Hart could join for just a legal matter, like we can discuss some stuff with you.
Okay. All right.
And,
Mr.
sorry, just to let you know, because some people had asked me, so there's one time. John Jackson has passed all of his difficult tests in the academy. He's now on to the hands-on stuff, which I think he will excel.
Yeah. All right. Diane, on this bid for the clock, that's from the company we got it from before. Have we, do you know if we've turned this into the insurance yet?
I just got that a few minutes before council meeting.
I mean, so we'll need, who does that, Beverly? Could someone ask Beverly to make sure to contact, is it Versa? We need to let them know about our clock as a result.
They know about it, but they don't know the new cost. They knew how much it cost us previously, but not the new quote.
Do we need, Kevin, can we just take the quote we got from the same company to replace it?
Should
And let her send it on?
Now, I imagine that's not a real common.
Can you do that? Or Beverly do
I
that?
will get that.
So it'll be a separate claim than the,
I think he's talking about replacing.
23. Not 100.
100?
No. Sorry.
Dollars.
Yeah.
How many?
Pass.
There is something we may need to look at. Can we be liable for our own property damage?
I don't know. That's why we just did, we'll call the insurance company. All right, Kevin Taylor, you have anything?
Not
to
this
say
time,
with you?
Mayor.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into closed session for personnel, evaluations, legal.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say